Hi, Angela. We're back with the other group today. So this is the class you'll actually be in. I think you've seen their faces before, but they're all going to wave to you right now. There we go. Wave to Angela. And they're looking forward to seeing you, as am I. And she's looking forward to seeing all of you as well. Email very frequently and anxious to get here. Hopefully, airlines, and the government, and COVID will all allow that to happen. So, Angela, what we're doing is you've read about the Roadrunner tactic, and I think I sent you this sheet. It says Chapter 1 quiz. We're not doing it as a quiz. Um, we're doing it together. So, the Roadrunner tactic is something that you can use when someone makes an absolute truth claim. That they're usually it revolves around the belief that there is no such thing as absolute truth, which is being stated as absolute truth. Right? So that's kind of the definition of a self-defeating statement. So for each of the following self-defeating statements, use the Roadrunner technique to expose the faulty logic. You may turn in one quiz. Oh, you can have to turn in one quiz because I'm not going to take this. I'm just going to walk through together. So here's the thing. These self-defeating statements, you can use logic to refute them. So I told you that we would use science, math, and logic and philosophy. So here we're using logic to combat statements that are being claimed to be true, but they don't meet their own standards. They don't live up to what they're saying is true. So let's talk about this. So what about this statement? Doubt everything. How would you explain that? Yeah. Doubt that statement. Right. Then if you're to doubt everything, I also need to doubt the fact that I should doubt everything, right? I need to doubt that statement as well, along with everything else. And that's along the lines of saying you can't know anything. Can I know that, right? It's along those same lines. Okay, the next statement is this: it is wrong to judge. Yeah, you're judging. So what just the statement itself is saying that it's wrong. It fails to meet its own standard, which is that we not judge. But the statement itself is judgment. So it's wrong to judge. Well, then it's wrong to say it's wrong to judge. If it's wrong to judge, then it's wrong to say it's wrong to judge. And again, this is similar to saying there's no such thing as truth, right? It's wrong to judge. So nobody can make a judgment, a true judgment. Nobody can make a true judgment. Then this does that make sense? What about I'm skeptical of everything? Skeptical of these. Yes. Then am I to be skeptical about that? Being skeptical of everything? You have to also be skeptical of being skeptical. This next one's been popular for a very long time because I remember hearing this in college a very long time ago. There's nothing new under the sun. There is no such thing as absolute truth. Is that an absolute truth? You're stating there is no such thing as absolute truth as an absolute truth, right? But that can't be because there is no such thing as absolute. sometimes people will come back at that and say, well, that is the only absolute truth, is that there's no such thing as absolute. There's a number of problems with that, right? Because if there is such a thing as absolute truth, if this is true, then there is such a thing as absolute truth. And if there is such a thing as absolute truth, could there not be more absolute truth than people are generally stating this because they don't want there to be an absolute truth in terms of faith, in terms of God, and they're trying to prevent that being stated as absolute. But just by stating that, they're admitting that there's absolute. You can't claim your religion is the only one that is true. Right. So this is something of a religious any sort of statement about faith, religion, higher power, um, God is a religious claim, and this is a religious truth claim about it's a claim about religion, and they're saying that this is the only truth that you can't claim your religion is. So again, they're doing the very thing they're saying doesn't exist or can't exist. And religious truth claims come in a lot of packages. So I think I've talked about, I know I've talked about before. I think I've talked about Al Cohen in this class before. This is ringing bells. Every morning, about the time I'm driving to school and I'm listening to Blue Radio, I really would rather they be playing songs from the 70s. The DJ reads a writing by a guy named Alan Cohen, and it's very spiritual and very kind of religious, but it's not Christian. And today the whole thing was how the universe allows us to go through certain things. And the universe allows things to happen, even sometimes things that were meant to be bad end up being good. And it's a story about a woman who a friend said, well, next time she's in New York, she should call this guy and see if he could go out to dinner because she thought that they'd be really good for each other. And she actually did that, and she actually met him, and the date actually went really well. But the friend then had sent her a bunch of text messages saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, because she had lied. She didn't know this guy. She read about him in the paper. And turns out she's a pathological liar. But through this pathological liar, the universe brought these two together, and they did end up getting married. That's a very religious sort of claim, devoid of any truth about the one true God who is sovereign. But it's saying that something is sovereign. It's saying the physical universe is sovereign. So that's a religious claim, even though it's not talking about God. You shouldn't try to impose your own religious views on other people. Yes, it is. You're telling me what I shouldn't do. You're imposing that belief, that religious belief on me. Now, I would say that imposing on someone is probably not the best tactic for evangelism, right? Nobody's ever been argued into that. But when they say you shouldn't try to impose your religion on anyone, they say you shouldn't try to create your faith. Because just talking about your faith in terms of those who are opposed to Christianity is imposing. So there's another way you could take this. Obviously, the Roadrunner tactic is just what you said, Davis. But tell me your definition of imposing. I'm having a spiritual conversation with you, and I think we're going back and forth with this. So I need to know how you define imposition. That's another one to take a conversation. This Roadrunner tactic. I see it more as helping you guys see through the lies. I think if you actually said that's like you can't, you shouldn't try to impose your own religious views on other people, and you can fire back. Well, you're trying to impose that on me. I think you kind of lose your ability and your credibility with that person to tell you about Jesus. So tread carefully with this. It's true, and it can like totally implode truth claims, absolute truth claims that look like absolute truth claims. But I'd be careful about being respectful when you're actually talking to somebody about Christianity. And then that's just your opinion. Yeah, Nick, that's also an opinion. A truth claim statement. Any questions? So let me check and see what we have left. Got that. So if you didn't get those questions done in for chapter 1, spend the rest of the hour working on those. I would like you to. I'm not going to do that. That's going to turn it. So I'll probably break it. But you can study for your quest. Hi, Angela.